we're also joined by Mr. D.K. Joshi. He's the Chief Economist of CRISIL. So what do you make of this step that the government has taken? It has finally bitten the bullet. Do you think this is the right step to end policy paralysis?
I think this was inevitable because diesel prices had been suppressed for a very long time. That was creating fiscal stress. The oil marketing companies' losses had already gone up to 48,000 crore in the first quarter. And I think and in general, the diesel, too much of subsidization of diesel was leading to an adverse incentive where I think the diesel cars were getting prominent. So I think even it's not the intended beneficiary, but other unintended beneficiaries were also gaining from this. So I think there was a dire need to raise diesel prices at this juncture from various perspectives. So I think this was inevitable, and this was the right thing to do.
But also, this is not just about diesel prices or reduced subsidy in LPG. It has a huge cascading effect on other essential commodities that we've seen. There are a lot of angry voices coming in from the Aam Aadmi.
Yeah, it is. I think it has cascading effects. I agree, but no, I think this time around the cascading effect will be slightly muted because the demand in the system is low, because the economic activity is low. But as I said, I mean, if you don't do it, the consequences are even worse than doing it. So I think you have to balance it. So I think there is definitely hardship that accompanies a sharp rise in diesel prices. And I think this is a consequence of not passing on the diesel prices, not passing on the increases in global crude prices to the customer on a periodic basis, and just so I think that's why we have a bigger shock. Otherwise, I think this would have been smoothly carried out.
So what would you say is the reason behind the sort of situation that we find our country to be in today? Is it the lack of political will?
I think it's basically, there are many factors. One, obviously, the umbrella factor is that the global environment is weak, so that's hurting sectors like exports, etc. We've also seen that decision making has slowed down in India, so that is hurting private investor sentiment. And I think interest rates have remained high because inflation is high, so that also is negative. So I think all these factors have come together to slow down the economy much beyond what was expected initially.
Mr. Joshi, if I could ask you one final question, do you think this is the right time for the government to power through despite all the opposition coming in from its allies and the opposition itself? Do you think this is the time for the government to power through and introduce all these reforms to at least try and end policy paralysis that they have been so often accused of?
Well, I think a few things definitely need to be done. I think that diesel price hike was one of them. I think they also have to overcome the policy logjam to ensure that enough coal is available to the power sector, and that the projects get cleared in time and on a priority basis. Otherwise, I think that to me is the priority at this juncture, and at least these things should be immediately addressed.
Absolutely. So, Mr. D.K. Joshi telling us the priority for the government right now is to try and end policy paralysis and try and get an inflow of capital. And we will be seeing more of that hopefully in the aviation sector, because there is a big CCEA meeting which is coming up at 4:30 today, where the government is going to deliberate on FDI in aviation sector. Thank you so much, Mr. Joshi, as well as Arthur Srivastava, for joining us with the latest.